All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Achak double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone. I'm your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will. This is edifying to the Lord's elect. I found this on the S.Korea.com. It says the Iran war is God's plan, say U.S. military leaders who believe Duck was anointed by Jesus. Can't make this shit up, man. Duck was anointed by Jesus. Come on, man. You can't be serious. But you saw how they were, the whole election, all the Bible Belt believers. I told you, they believe in the so-called white man. They don't really believe in the Lord, man. They just believe in that Christianity shit's false, man. Let me see. What's this? Now he is anointed by the Lord, okay? Because it tells you in the book of let's start there in the book of Psalms 75. Psalm 75. I start at the top. Psalm 75 and 1 to the it says, God abases the proud but exalts the righteous. Okay, to the chief musician out to shift a psalm or song of Asaph. Unto thee, O God, do we give thanks. Unto thee do we give thanks for that thy name is near, thy wondrous works declare. When I shall receive the congregation, I will judge uprightly. The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. I bear up the pillars of its Salah. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn. So when he tells the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn, is pretty much you lifting up your horn, you being proud. Okay, you're basically, your horn goes into your power, so you uplifting yourself. Lift not up your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But God is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. So he set him up to be in power. So that always comes from the Lord. That's where the power comes from. You have any form of power down here on the earth, it came from the Lord. So in that retrospect, yes, he is anointed, to do the Lord's will. Everyone is anointed in some form or fashion to do something that pertains to prophecy, whether you be a two-third or you part of the elect. You all are appointed for, you have a position. Some of y'all just created to be destroyed, but that's all the will of the Lord. Psalm 75 and 8, for in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red, it is full of mixture, and he poureth out of the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. Let's look this up. Psalm 75 and 8, let's look this up. It represents the inescapable, full consequences of sin and divine retribution. This verse highlights God's sovereign control over justice and the unavoidable comprehensive punishment for arrogance. I mean, I probably wouldn't have broken it down like that, but because pretty much, yeah, you're going to be drinking this cup of judgment just like we had to drink, and you're going to drink it all the way down, man. For every last drop, you're going to feel it all. Everything that we had to go through, you're going to feel all of that. And that's not because we're doing that to you. It's because the Lord's going to use us to do it to you. Like he tells you in the book of Ezekiel, the 25th chapter. Let's grab that. Ezekiel 25 and 12. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because that Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended, and revenged himself upon them. Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh. So you're gonna learn from who? Israel. Okay, Lord's gonna use Israel to whip your ass. Psalm 75 and 9, but I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. So your horn's going to get cut off, and the horn or the power of the righteous shall be exalted, which is Israel. Okay, so yes, he is in that position because of the Lord. But it tells you in the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, that There shall be false. Um, let's see. Was that Matthew 24? False prophets and all of these things. It says, where's the precept? I'm looking at Matthew 24 in verse, I'll start at 21. For then shall be great tribulation, which is Jacob's trouble, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So the Lord's shortening the days, because that's showing you how evil the time that we're living in. Who knows what this nigga's doing? I was watching a video. I don't even think I can share her video, but it was on this Kim Iverson show. This dude right here, man, he's smart. Professor Jiang Early. I haven't heard this whole video, but I think I shared it on my channel. But I'm about to. He said something on X, but it's only a 23-minute and 11-second video. But he said something on the X talking about how Israel took over Syria and all these other, Libya and I forgot what he said exactly, but he was saying how they're going to create a surveillance state in the Middle East and put chips in people's brains and so he knows something, okay? He knows something, all right? Because that's Joel 2 in verse number 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, that includes the heathen, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants, upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. So the Lord's pouring out his spirit upon all flesh. So when you see a heathen pretty much prophesying, that's all part of the scriptures, man, what he's talking about. He's talking about the MOTB, and he's talking about Jacob's trouble pretty much. So that's the spirit. So I'm going to have to listen to what he's saying, because that aligns with prophecy, not for my own entertainment use. This is the book of Matthew 24 and verse 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. He was saying that in that video that, on X, but I believe it's in that video because that's what he was, that's where he was at. But he was saying how they're going to be able to live for 150 years because they're going to have, a bunch of body transplants and be able to live for 150 years, And if you put a lot of people to death, you have more access to all their organs and shit like that. That's what Esau does with you anyways. You die, you think, oh, I'm not an organ donor. That nigga's still taking your organs and shit, whether you are on the list or not. Why wouldn't you think he's going to listen to you? He don't even bury you. He be taking all your organs and acting like he burying you and then throw you in some hamburger meat. Book of Matthew 24, verse 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, so or there, believe it not. And that's what they're saying right now. Oh, this man was anointed by Jesus. So he's saying he's anointed. All right. Which is bullshit. Well, like I said, the promotion cometh from the Lord, from the Most High. So him giving him that power to be in that being the king of Babylon, that comes from the Lord. He's the one who gives you sovereignty. He's the one who allows you to be in any form of power. Matthew 24 and 24, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Now, who knows what type of, there's probably more false Mashiach or, false prophets, especially with AI and different things. So, we're going to be seeing a lot of great signs and wonders. I don't know how he's going to do it, but Esau got it. The scripture is going to be fulfilled. I'm going to read a little bit of this. As a Catholic Christian from birth, can't make this shit up, I have come to wish devoutly that two things had happened in the early days when the Jesus movement was just getting rolling. First, that Saul had gotten back on his horse and hightailed it back to Tarsus and never written a word about the charismatic carpenter he never met. And second, that Patmos had been destroyed in a massive volcanic eruption an hour before John in his cave had set stylus to papyrus. We could have avoided a lot of extra Jesus foolishness down through the millennia. Case in point, from Jonathan Larson's Substack. A combat unit commander told non-commissioned officers at a briefing Monday that the Iran war is part of God's plan and that President Donald Duck was anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth, according to a complaint by a non-commissioned officer. Well, you definitely gonna start Armageddon, man. As a matter of fact, since we got that, let's look at some precepts on that. Let's see what pops up. Revelation 16:16. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Okay. Let's read about it. Revelation 16 verse 13. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet. So there's three unclean spirits. I'm talking about the three city states. Okay, the Vatican, the London Financial District, and the military, U.S. military in Washington, D.C. or Virginia, where, they military, which is on another three-city state. So these are these three spirits, and that's how he runs this system. He got the Catholic, the Vatican Church, which is running your religious sector. He got the financial system in London, and he got his military sector for the muscle. All right. So that's the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. The dragon would be mostly representing, because the dragon and the beast are interchangeable. But it's these three different spirits are these unclean spirits of those three systems right there. All right. So the dragon would represent, in this case, the financial sector. Let me get into this real quick. In Revelation 16. Verse 16. Nope, Revelation 16. Verse 13, I meant. Yeah, that's pretty much it. My notes are actually, my notes are all over the place. I gotta get my notes together. Let's see what I got. Yep. So yeah, that's what those three represent. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. So that's what these three spirits are doing. Vatican's getting you prepared for it by pushing all these false, wicked-ass doctrines, which is Islam, and paying people off to push false doctrines. That's what this place is pretty much run by, false doctrines. As long as that's why people believe the Christian Catholic Church, which is like, it just blow the Roman Christian Catholic Church. I'm surprised he didn't say Roman. Okay. and they're keeping people docile, the financial sector, even the military sector. And they're going to help bring forth the MLTB. They're funding it, they're going to enforce it, and they're pushing that on the people. Revelation 16, verse 15, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. So, behold, I come as a thief. It's talking about our Lord Yahweh Shai. Blessed is he that watcheth. Okay, you blessed if you're watching to see prophecy be fulfilled. You're waiting for the Lord. And keepeth his garments, meaning your garments is what you believe in. Okay, which is this doctrine of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. When Job said, I put on righteousness and it clothed me. Job 29, verse 14. Let's look that up. King James Bible. I put on righteousness and it clothed me. My judgment was as a robe and a diadem. Let's look this up. In this phrase, Job speaks metaphorically about righteousness as a garment he wears. In biblical times, clothing often symbolized one's status or character. Righteousness here refers to moral integrity and uprightness, qualities that Job was known for in Job 1:1. The imagery of putting on righteousness suggests an intentional and active pursuit of living according to God's standards. This concept is echoed in the New Testament, where believers are encouraged to put on virtues like compassion and humility. The idea of being clothed in righteousness also points to the imputed righteousness of Hamashiach, a theme developed in the writings of Paul. Justice was my robe and my turban. Justice, like righteousness, is depicted as a garment, emphasizing its importance in Job's life. The robe and turban were significant articles of clothing in ancient Near Eastern culture, often associated with dignity and authority. The robe could symbolize a judge's or leader's garment, indicating Job's role in his community as a fair and a just leader. The turban worn on the head might signify wisdom and honor, attributes linked to justice. The imagery aligns with the biblical portrayal of God as a just judge and foreshadows the messianic prophecy of the coming king who will reign with righteousness and justice. The emphasis on justice reflects the biblical mandate to care for the marginalized and oppressed, a theme prevalent throughout Scripture. But the clothing pretty much means that it's what you believe in. Just like when Adam and Eve, they started sowing fig leaves. Okay, they were covered in righteousness, but until they sinned, they started covering themselves with fig leaves. So that shows you that it has to go in your conduct, what you believe in. Okay, it was you were naked now. You have no covering. See, that righteousness clothes you, just like the blood of Yahweh Shai. Revelation 16:16, and he gathered them together in a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. All right. So they're being gathered. Let's look at this word, Armageddon. I forgot how you say it in Hebrew. Armageddon, I think I heard brother say. The hill or city of Megiddo, in Revelation 16:16, the scene of a struggle of good and evil, is suggested by that battle plain of Esdraelon, which was famous for two great victories of Barak over the Canaanites and of Gideon over the Midianites, and for two great disasters, the death of Saul and Josiah. Hence in Revelation, a place of great slaughter, the scene of a terrible retribution upon the wicked. The RSV translate the name Harmageddon, the hill as is the city of Megiddo. Well, I believe it means mountain of troops. So I don't know where they're getting that from. All right. You look in the root war, it says mountain, hill, a mountain going into the government. So the Lord's bringing these different nations, these different mountains to the valley of Jehoshaphat so we can destroy them. Let me read a little bit more. And mark his return on the earth according to a complaint by a non-commissioned officer. So I get what they're saying, but to be anointed by the Lord, first of all, the Lord's name is not Jesus. That's number one. All Jesus is a false god that Esau made to glorify himself. Okay, but he's actually a real person when it comes to Caesar Borgia, or Caesar Borgia, Cesare Borgia, whatever you want to call him, which is Pope Alexander VI's illegitimate son. So that goes to show you that who was a damn demon when you look him up. So that's the vibration they putting out, and that's how the people who worship him, that's what they are. They're demons because they worship somebody that sleeps with his, ancestral. That's what Esau likes to worship, demons. That's like the Baphomet and shit. That's what he does. He's not right in his head, man. He was estranged from the womb. According to Psalms 58:3. From Saturday morning through Monday night, more than 110 similar complaints about commanders in every branch of the military had been logged by the Military Religious Freedom Foundation. The complaints came from more than 40 different units spread across at least 30 military installations. The MRFF told me Monday night. Now, if you were so righteous, your society would be righteous, but you're not a reflection of the society that the Lord, would have had established. And it's not even like, because we all fall short of the grace our righteousness is filthy rags, but there's a difference between somebody trying and somebody completely missing the mark. That's Esau. He's completely missing the mark. He don't keep any law at all. Okay, he speaks sweet with his lips. Take command responsibility away from these people immediately. And yes, that includes the Secretary of Talking About War, who committed his life to the precious blood of Jack Daniels years ago, because they are telling soldiers that they are not but cannon fodder in an eschatological conflict that is not only completely banana pants, but also directly in conflict with the words of the founder himself, as recorded by Matthew, the former Imperial Revenue Officer, in the 24th chapter of his Reminiscences. I don't know what the hell this is talking about. It sounds like he's talking about Matthew 24, but I don't know what the hell's going on. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, I just read that. So he was talking about Matthew. Believe it not, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. They actually putting this in the S.Korea. That's the spirit, man. But about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father, the officer, and shut up. That's the spirit that they putting that out there, man. That's beautiful. Who believed Duck was anointed by Jesus? Well, his followers believe that. Okay, that's who they look for. They have no God but Caesar. Who said that? I think the Sadducees said that. We have no God but Caesar, KJV. John 19:15. That's a good chapter. That's a good chapter. John 19. I'll start at the top. Then Pilate therefore took Jesus, or Yahushua, and scourged him. And the soldiers platted a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and they put on him a purple robe, and said, Hail, King of the Jews! And they smote him with their hands. Pilate therefore went forth again, and saith unto them, Behold, I bring him forth to you, that ye may know that I find no fault in him. Then came Yahushua forth, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, and Pilate saith unto them, Behold the man. When the chief priests therefore and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him, crucify him. Pilate saith unto them, Take ye him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him. The Jews answered him, We have a law, and by our law he ought to die, because he made himself the Son of God. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he was the more afraid, and went again into the judgment hall, and saith unto Yahushua, Whence art thou? But Yahushua gave him no answer. Then saith Pilate unto him, Speakest thou not unto me? Knowest thou not that I have power to crucify thee, and have power to release thee? Yahushua answered, Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore he that delivered me unto thee have the greater sin, which was Judas Iscariot. And from henceforth Pilate sought to release him, but the Jews cried out, saying, If thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Whosoever maketh himself a king speaketh against Caesar. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Yahushua forth and sat down in the judgment seat in a place that is called the pavement, but in Hebrew, Gabbatha. And it was the preparation of the Passover in about the 6th hour. And he saith unto the Jews, Behold your king. But they cried out, away with him, crucify him. Pilate saith unto them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king but Caesar. But that's the same thing, like, all you know, they follow the wicked. That's 2/3 saying they have no king but Caesar. But that's Esau talking too. That's Pilate. Okay? Showing you, first of all, John 19:11. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. So anything that happens to us is from the Heavenly Father. It ain't from Esau at all. So no matter what this nigga does, everyone got an appointed time down here on the earth, and we're at the point where you're going to be allotted for salvation or destruction, you know. And in some cases, your destruction might like seem like it's death and punishment from somebody else, but we won't know until we're on the chariot. Okay, that's when we're gonna know if you made it or not. All right, but he's really anointed to bring Babylon to be destroyed. Commanders accused of framing Iran war as biblical mandate Yahweh Jesus' return. It is. Hey man, that's the spirit, man. The Lord's putting that spirit out there. It's everything spiritual, man. I mean, you could look at it like it's carnal, but it's very spiritual. You know, if we didn't have these breakdowns, I mean, everything would seem, you'd just be caught up in all this wind. You wouldn't know which way to go, you know. But having the Bible, man, you just, when you see these things, you know how firm you are in the scriptures. Like, I don't know every precept, but I know it's prophecy, you know. Just even what he's talking about. I was thinking Matthew 24, when they start throwing the precepts in the news report with it, hey, we living in some different times, man. This is biblical times we're living in, and people don't even know it. All of this is biblical times, but they look like we're far outside of it, man. We're always going to be in biblical times, even when we get into the kingdom. That's prophecy being fulfilled. It says an organization that has been fighting against religious extremism in the United States military for 2 decades has reported more than 200 new complaints since Saturday's initial strikes against Iran, with members across all services claiming that high-ranking officers are trying the mission overseas to fulfilling a Christian prophecy. And that's what it is. They know. Esau knows this, but for some reason, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans have no clue. Joel 2, verse 20, but I will remove far off from you the northern army and will drive him into a land barren and desolate with his face toward the east sea and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. So this place that's barren and desolate is Saudi Arabia, with his face toward the east sea, which is the Euphrates River, and the hinder part toward the utmost sea is the Red Sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he have done great things. So they gassing you up to go over there to be destroyed. And you believe that shit. All right? A lot of y'all don't even know. You so happy, oh, yeah, I can pay my bills and shit. You about to go over there and be destroyed. A combat unit commander told non-commissioned officers at a briefing Monday that the Iran war is part of God's plan, and that President Donald Duck was anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to earth. That's beautiful, according to independent journalist Jonathan Larson, as published on Substack. Amen. That's Joel 2:28. That's him putting the spirit of prophecy upon all flesh, because we know Duck is, you know, or we're watching Duck fulfill prophecy and a lot of things that he's doing, what he's doing with Israel, you know, all of it. So, hey man, 2 Ezra 6 and 9. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is it, is of it that followeth. All right. Yeah. That complaint was made by a non-commissioned officer and provided to the Military Religious Freedom. I read that twice, but I want to see what they said there. U.S. opens military action in Ecuador against terrorist organizations. U.S. Special Forces soldiers are advising and supporting Ecuadorian commandos on raids across the country against suspected drug shipment facilities and other drug-related sites. Action in Ecuador. Where the fudge is Ecuador? Ecuador, Southern America, right next to Colombia. So that's bullshit, man. He's full of shit. Yeah, we want to help you with the drug situation in Ecuador, but he gonna be moving into Colombia next. Nigga's full of shit. He's full of shit, man. Now he's in Ecuador. Great. What else? The United States and Ecuador have launched joint military operations against designated terrorist organizations in the South American country, the Pentagon said on Tuesday night, in what appeared to be a major expansion of the U.S. military's unilateral strikes against boats in the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific that the Duck administration has accused of carrying drugs. Same shit he was doing with Venezuela. He started blowing up their boats, and then next thing you know, he moved in and started. What did he do? He went in there, took the president. It says U.S. Special Forces soldiers are advising and supporting Ecuadorian commandos on raids across the country against suspected drug shipment facilities and other drug-related sites. The Americans are not believed to be participating in the actual raids, but are helping the Ecuadorian troops plan their operations and are providing intelligence and logistics support, the official said. How nice of you. He's such a nice guy, isn't he? He'll just help you out. You couldn't do that on your own, right? You needed Esau to help you out. Ecclesiasticus, chapter 14. Just pathetic. These nations are pathetic. They all need, every single one of them. Even these Latino countries. I can't wait for all that shit to be destroyed because you people are stupid. Ecclesiasticus 12. What am I, 14? Ecclesiasticus 14. And, where is it? I forgot where it's at. If he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. Ecclesiasticus 14. What's up, more? Ecclesiasticus 14, verse 7. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. So if he do it, so he's giving you information in Ecuador to help against these terroristic organizations. Now you might think that benefits you. But in the last, he's gonna declare his wickedness. He's gonna show you why he actually did it. Just through the spirit. I'm just thinking he's trying to get into Colombia, and he got a launch pad from there. He's trying to help you out, but far out, he's thinking, all right, if I'm gonna use these stupid ass Ecuadorians, these dumb, stupid ass Ecuadorians, are gonna let me in the door, and I'm gonna use that as the Trojan horse to get to go into Colombia. And these dumb fucks are gonna let me in there, and if anyone got anything to do with, I'll just put them to death. I'll just put all these stupid ass Ecuadorians to death if I have to, and put up a puppet government in there, because they're so fucking stupid. U.S. considers relocating Thaaad Patriots to Middle East. South Korea-based systems may be moved amid prolonged U.S. military operation against Iran. Imagine you in South Korea, and then you get an ambassador from the U.S. saying, "Yo, we need your Thaaad systems." But you got, first of all, you set up a whole demilitarization zone years ago. Okay, you know these niggas got nuclear capability and missiles, and he's hostile. He's doing tests and all that. Now you trying to take that away and put it in the Middle East. Now, why the fuck would I do that? Why would I do that? Please tell me why I would do that. That's what he's asking them to do. U.S. President Donald Duck, in an interview with the New York Times on the first local time, predicted that the military operation against Iran, named Epic Fury, will last 4 to 5 weeks. However, there are observations that if the U.S. airstrikes on Iran prolong beyond this period, U.S. military assets and troops stationed in South Korea on the Korean Peninsula could also be deployed to the Middle East. So he's trying to take your troops, dude. Oh, man, you heathen about to get fucked up. He's just going to keep sending you heathen. He's sending people in South Korea to the Middle East. Good luck. Experts believe that air defense assets of the U.S. forces Korea, such as Patriot and Thaaad, terminal high-altitude area defense systems, as well as surveillance and reconnaissance assets like the MQ-9 Reaper, unmanned aerial vehicles permanently stationed at Gunsan Air Base in South Korea last year, could be among the assets to be relocated. In June of last year, prior to the Midnight Hammer operation to strike Iranian nuclear facilities, the U.S. selectively deployed 3 out of 8 USFK Patriot batteries to the Middle East to prepare for potential retaliatory attacks from Iran. The 500 USFK personnel and Patriot batteries that were mobilized at the time returned to South Korea in October of last year. How nice. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it just shows you that relocating assets to go fight this war in Iran. But listen to this. Iran claims largest U.S. radar in Gulf destroyed, all about billion-dollar machine. So Iran claims largest U.S. radar in Gulf destroyed. A U.S. radar. Okay, you use radar so you can detect certain missiles and shit like that. You're going to need it so you can counterattack, these attacks, right? IRGC claimed that the radar was completely destroyed in a precision missile strike. It was later corroborated by Qatari officials. So you couldn't even protect this billion-dollar machine. Okay? So all that money just got burnt up by a missile that probably cost pennies on a dollar. So you going bankrupt, Esau. You can't fight a war like that. It costs too much to set something up like this. He got all this shit that he thinking his Thaaad and all that would protect this, and it got hit. And they're not even using the higher, more expensive graded missiles. He's using the cheap shit. He's doing all this damage with cheap shit for the low. He's blowing your shit up. $1 billion. Are you out of your damn mind? Pathetic. This is showing you that your wisdom is not, whoever you got up in there, if these people should be pissed the fuck off that this shit got blown up. That $1 billion for some radar system that just just to get blown up, and now it's ineffective. Just money just blown up, and he'll spend no money on you so-called Americans, because he ain't trying to make this place better, man. The attack by U.S. and Israel on Iran has expanded into a wider Middle East conflict and has not just cost lives, but saw the destruction of military weapons worth billions of dollars. Several reports in the Iranian media have claimed that the AN-FPS-132, the largest American radar in the Gulf, has been destroyed. Citing IRGC Public Relations Office, Tehran Times, and other outlets said that the radar has a tracking range of 5,000 kilometers. Both U.S. President Donald Duck and Iranian authorities have said the conflict will continue for a long time. It ain't gonna continue for a long time if he knocks down on your expensive bullshit. Look at that shit. Nigga busted right through that. That shit didn't do nothing. The system was specifically tuned to monitor Iranian missile activities. Well, not anymore. Building up to the attack, which the U.S. named Epic Fury, Washington assembled its largest force in Armada, quote unquote, and some of its most powerful weaponry. Among these are the B-2 bombers, the bat-winged stealth bombers priced at more than $1 billion per fighter jet. These are the most potent platform in the U.S. Air Force. The list released by U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, on Sunday also includes low-cost unmanned combat attack systems, Lucas, one-way drones. According to CNN, the drone is essentially a knockoff of the Iranian-designed Shahed 136 drones that Russia has used in large numbers in its war in Ukraine. So them drones that they got a high level, and they're cheap. Now they're being used on military weapons. Now they're seeing what the Ukrainians been telling them why they need more money. That all that expensive shit, all that $1 billion shit you giving us is getting blown up by their drones. They went in with cheap shit, and he ain't even going to the hypersonic missiles and Poseidon missiles. He's not even hitting you with none of that shit. Now you want to take other people's resources and Thaaad systems and bring it to the Middle East, what, to be destroyed? You're not going over there to win any battle. Now he want to talk about, yeah, we bring in Armageddon. Yeah, you bring in your destruction and everybody else too. Okay, because when y'all meet over there, the Lord's going to meet all y'all over there. That's what we're waiting for, like the Lord told us to do. Patriot and Thaaad missile defense systems have also been activated by the U.S. to counter incoming Iranian drones and ballistic missiles. Apart from these, aircraft carriers and guided missile destroyers have also been pressed into service. Yeah, and this is in Qatar. So what are you going to do now? Bring some Thaaad systems over there? Come on, man. Try to shoot some cheap ass. I was reading something. Where is it? Multiple U.S. embassies are telling Americans they cannot evacuate or help them get out of the Middle East. You can't even get people out of the Middle East. You're pretty much saying, fuck you. You know, people who fought for the country also got left behind, just like in Vietnam. Mad U.S. soldiers got left behind, man. He don't have the integrity to go. All that shit's Hollywood. He just blew up some of those CIA agents who gave up Khamenei. And then you hear stories that he was with his family and all types of shit. So he didn't give a fuck about none of that. You know, and I don't think anybody's talking to him after that. Who wants to sit down with him? You're just making yourself a target at this point. Damn, if I sit down and do business with him, then shit, I got a Russian target, an Iranian target. Them shits are effective, man. The U.S. Department has advised Americans to leave some countries in the Middle East. They should have been left. You should have told them to been leave. It's stupid as hell if you go over there anyways. That's why when you don't have wisdom, you subject to just destroying yourself. Nigga be on a flight, oh, I want to go to Qatar and, go check out the food and all that. You're a fool. The U.S. embassies in Jerusalem and Qatar have said they are unable to help citizens evacuate. So, good luck. That was quick, man. You didn't consider that before? Were unable to help citizens evacuate. Get the hell out of here, man. You can send missiles into all these other lands, but you can't provide support for people to leave these lands. What about that big ass Qatari plane that you were gifted for free? Don't you send that over there? Conflict is escalating in the region after the U.S. and Israel struck Iran on Saturday. Well, he's told you he was going to strike him in 10 to 15 days. You wanted to, I don't know what the hell you want to do over there. The $35,000 drone versus the $4 million interceptor. How Iran is bankrupting Western air defenses. See? That's where your money goes. The $35,000 drone that is bankrupting missile defense. Iran has discovered the most devastating weapon in its arsenal is not a nuclear warhead or a ballistic missile. It is a $35,000 drone that forces its enemies to spend $500,000 to $15 million every time they shoot one down. Shit. So look at the difference of what they're using compared to America. All that $1 trillion military bullshit he be talking. Oh, I gotta increase the spending bill to $1 trillion. This is a record-breaking bill. Meanwhile, $35,000 taking that shit out. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. I can't even think of the precept. Maybe it'll come back to me. It's just pathetic, man. It says at 2,500 drones per day across 5 theaters of war, this cost asymmetry is draining Allied interceptor stockpiles at a rate that no factory on Earth can replenish. Now, this makes more sense why they're saying their munitions are running out. They're running out because the cost effectiveness of their attacks is bankrupting your air defense system. That is crazy. And that's how the Lord shows you when you don't, the Lord don't need all that shit, man. He don't fuck with all this, oh, I got all this money. This is how you know it's the Lord. Yeah, $35,000 drone taking down $1 billion equipment. That's the Lord, man. And he's just fooling around with you. Showing you have no chance. And he ain't even get started yet. You have no chance, man. This is the Lord coming up against Esau. And Esau knows it. That's why he wrote that paper. Yeah, God told me to do it. And the Lord probably put that spirit on him to say that too. That's funny. So the Lord be talking, man. That's his spirit that's out there. And then he's putting his spirit on a lot of these heathen. He's putting it on a lot of brothers. It's undeniable that the spirit's moving. And you're starting to see even some of these heathen got the spirit more than some of you Israelites that are out there. Got no clue what's going on out here. All right. It may be the most consequential military innovation since the improvised explosive device transformed ground warfare in Iraq. The improvised explosive device, IEDs. I think that's when you put, the tanks, it blows up tanks and shit. You put it in the ground. It's like these two things. You just stick it in the ground and you go over it or you rig it, and if you trip the wire, pretty much fucked. So I'm sure that really changed the ground game and these drones too. And they didn't even he don't have nothing for the hypersonic missiles, and you telling me you don't have anything for $35,000 drones? So you have nothing at all? I gotta grab it. Jeremiah 50. Just type it in. Jeremiah 50, verse 23. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Yeah, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? Your hammer's broken, man. Okay. How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Let's look this up. Curious to see how. I know they ain't gonna break it down right, but pretty much the hammer of the earth. You were going around fucking these nations up for years. You've been spending way more money than these nations, and they're fucking you up, Esau. What's up with that? All these parades, all this West Wing, knocking down the West Wing, building ballrooms. What the fuck is all that about, man? $1 billion here. I'm spilling this bill's all this money. What's that about? How the hammer of the whole earth lies broken and shattered. The phrase refers to Babylon, which was once a dominant world power, symbolized as a hammer due to its military might. That's right. An ability to crush nations. Historically, Babylon was known for its conquest and influence over the ancient Near East. The imagery of a broken and shattered hammer signifies the sudden and complete downfall of Babylon, fulfilling the prophecies of its destruction. This aligns with biblical theme of divine justice, where God humbles the proud and powerful. The fall of Babylon is also a precursor to the ultimate judgment against all worldly powers that oppose God, as seen in Revelation 18, which is talking about Babylon. What a horror Babylon has become among the nations. Babylon's transformation from a feared empire to a horror highlights the dramatic reversal of its fortunes. This serves as a warning to other nations about the consequences of pride and idolatry. In the biblical narrative, Babylon often represents human arrogance and rebellion against God, as seen in the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11. The horror Babylon becomes is not just its physical destruction, but also its moral and spiritual downfall. This echoes the prophetic literature, where Babylon's fall is a symbol of God's judgment against sin and a foreshadowing of the ultimate victory of God's kingdom. The phrase also connects to the eschatological themes in the New Testament, where Babylon is depicted as a symbol of worldly corruption and is ultimately judged by God. And that's exactly what's going on. What's eschatological mean? Relating to death, judgment, and the final destiny of the soul of the humankind.
Eschatological.
Eschatological. It says the numbers are stark. Since Iran began its retaliatory strikes on February 28th, the combined air defense networks of the U.S., Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and Israel have been forced to engage thousands of Shahed series loitering munitions launched from Iranian territory. Each drone cost Tehran roughly $20,000 to $50,000 to produce. Each interceptor missile fired in response costs anywhere from $500,000 for a short-range system to $15 million for a single Thaaad round. When Iran launches $87.5 million worth of drones in a single day, the defensive bill can climb into the billions. This is not a war of firepower, it's a war of accounting, and Iran is winning the ledger. That is crazy. That is pitiful. I didn't think Babylon was gonna go down like that, man. I thought you was gonna have like a glorious fall. You know, you keep mentioning things like Samson. You know, Samson had a glorious fall. He took down the pillars. He killed everybody. You know, but you're fucking pathetic. You really are, man. This actually got me mad. That we getting ruled over some dumbass idiots just like Beavis and Butthead are running the world. Why does Iran's drone strategy change modern warfare? You know what? I read enough of that. There's more things going on. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Kane hold a press briefing. When was this? March 2nd. That was yesterday. He said, I'm going to get to the point. I'm going to jump down. It says, we didn't start this war, but under President Duck, we are finishing it. Their war on Americans has become our retribution against their Ayatollah in his death code. It took the 47th president, a fighter who always puts America first, to finally draw the line after 47 years of Iranian belligerence. He reminded the world, as he has time and time again, being an American means something unbreakable. If you kill Americans, if you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you. President Duck has also been very consistent. Crazy regimes like Iran, hell bent on prophetic Islamist delusions, cannot have nuclear weapons. It's common sense. Many have said it, but it takes guts to actually enforce it, and our president has guts. Okay. All right. You said it. So if you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, so they're supposed to like when you kill their president, and what are they supposed to say? Thank you. When you kill their generals, when you put sanctions on them, they're supposed to like you. Like that don't make any sense. That's a foreign country. You got freedom of speech here, but in other countries you blow them up and kill them because they got freedom of speech. I don't get what you're saying there. It's just hypocritical. Israel sends troops into southern Lebanon as Hezbollah says it is ready for open war. Hezbollah just fucked some shit up today. All right, they are fucking shit up. Israel sent troops into southern Lebanon on Tuesday and warned residents of more than 80 villages to evacuate as the Iran-backed militant Hezbollah group said it was ready for an open war with Israel in the wake of U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. So why you fighting Iran now? His proxy groups are coming up against you. The development came after Hezbollah fired rockets and launched drones early Monday toward northern Israel. Israel retaliated with a wave of airstrikes that killed 50 people in Lebanon, including 7 children. These niggas, I'm telling you. Every time they kill something, there's always some kids involved, as well as Palestinian militant and a Hezbollah intelligence official in Beirut's southern suburbs. The death toll is a revised figure from an earlier one reported by the health ministry, which originally said Monday that 52 people died in the strikes. Lebanese health minister Rakan then on Tuesday reduced that number to 40, then later the toll to 50. Lebanon also said 335 people were wounded and that tens of thousands were displaced. The UN Refugee Agency said Tuesday that 30,000 displaced people were staying in collective shelters in Lebanon, while many others slept in their cars on sides of the roads as they could not yet find safe shelter. Hezbollah says it has no option but to fight Israel. More Israeli troops enter Lebanon. It's not telling me what Hezbollah did today, but Syrians flee across the border. That's what happens during war, man. It tells you that's how, when shit really kick off, man. That's people being pilgrims in the earth. The Lord's turning this place into a wilderness. And it's going to be like that over here, too. Let me grab this in the book of 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 40. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. And that's what the heathen are going through. They're having to not leave their homes. They're sleeping in their cars. They don't know where they're going. They know they got to get away from that situation. But they're going to be going into another situation where there's going to be bombs over there too. Battle's going to be ahead of them. They're going from one battle to a next battle, escaping that battle into another battle. Just like those Palestinians. You know, they went here, people were dying over there, then they moved over here, and they would tell them to go over here, and they were getting killed over there. Kids were getting killed. That's the same shit this nigga's gonna do. This nigga's running the whole world. That's why you don't want to be the hindermost. That's why these scriptures were written for your learning. You want to be on fire for the Lord, man. Because through the Spirit, a lot of people ain't on fire for the Lord. You want to be on fire. You want to be seeking the Lord. Because all that childish bullshit, the way you act is kind of like where you're at in the Spirit. slow, you don't take it serious, you're childish. Okay, well the Lord got something for you. You can be in the back of the line. Go back there. He gonna kill the hindmost first, and that's Amalek. This Basij today. The force as Basij is a volunteer paramilitary force under Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, founded in 1980 by Ruhollah Khomeini, known for suppressing domestic dissent. The Basij has a membership estimated in the hundreds of thousands, up to 1 million, and is led by Glormareza Soleimani. So this is 1 million people volunteered to pretty much be in some rogue, not rogue, but role and function, some type of military. I thought that was amazing. Whenever men get together and agree to fight, that's power right there within itself. You know, this isn't 1 million people signing up to fight without a draft, without none of that. That's not people you want to fuck with. This nigga gonna have to implement a draft and do all that. You sending some twerkers over there to go fight real men when it comes to battle. People who want to go to war and fight for their country, that's a manly thing to do. As a matter of fact, this, when Judas Maccabeus said it's honor to fight for your laws in your country. First Maccabees 3, verse 21. It's an honor to do that, man. When the Maccabees were fighting for their laws in their country, they were willing to die for that. Let's jump up a little bit. First Maccabees 3 and verse 17. Who, when they saw, let me see, I gotta go up a little bit. 13. First Maccabees 3 verse 13. Now when Saron, the prince of the army of Syria, heard say that Judas had gathered unto him a multitude and company of the faithful to go out with him to war. He had the faithful of the men who they're faithful to the law, they're faithful to the Lord, their people, their laws. Okay, faithful, mighty men, man. He said, I will get me a name and honor in the kingdom, for I will go fight with Judas and them that are with him who despise the king's commandment. So he was trying to follow, he was trying to make us follow the heathen. So he made him ready to go up, and there went with him a mighty host of the ungodly to help him and to be avenged of the children of Israel, because Judas Maccabeus was putting people to death. Yeah, people, he was started small, but then, you start winning those battles, more men will be, you get pumped up. You win one battle, you thought you were gonna die, then you won the battle, and you go out again, you do it again, and then you just keep doing it, and then you're just like, oh, the Lord just with us. You just whatever. You just become a damn monster, man. You get to slaying these heathen, man, and it's just like, you don't win so many battles, your name's going out. You just pulling up. The heathen is scared as hell. They heard what you did the night before, the week before, month before. You still here. You think, oh, I'm going to get a name. All that pride thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to get a name. You're going to die. When he came near to the going of Beth-horon, Judas went forth to meet him with a small company. Let me see, did I skip something? Let me read this again. First Maccabees 3 verse 14. He said, I will get me a name and honor in the kingdom, for I will go fight with Judas and them that are with him who despise the king's commandment. So he made him ready to go up, and there went with him a mighty host of the ungodly to help him and to be avenged of the children of Israel. And when he came near to going up to Beth-horon, Judas went forth to meet him with a small company. So here it is. He said the ungodly came to help him. Okay, with a mighty host, and then Judas comes with a small company. First Maccabees 3 verse 17. Who, when they saw the host coming to meet them, said unto Judas, how shall we be able, being so few, to fight against so great a multitude and so strong, seeing we are ready to faint with fasting all this day? Unto whom Judas answered, it is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few, and with God of heaven, Salakia, and with the God of heaven, it is all one to deliver with a great multitude or a small company. For the victory of battle standeth not in the multitude of a host, but strength cometh from heaven. That's right. So the Lord is the one who's given who he wants to win the strength to win. Okay? Which also goes into your wisdom. All right? Wisdom is better than weapons of war, like it tells you in Ecclesiastes, the 9th chapter. Here it is, you got all these weapons, but your wisdom's confounding you. You know, Esau was doing good. He was using his propaganda. He was using AI. He was doing a lot of things, but now that's why he's fully given over to AI, because this nigga's stupid as hell. He want to put all his trust in some man-made machine, some idol. But that idol's going to fail him, because the Lord ain't dealing with him. First Maccabees 3 verse 20. Then they come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us and our wives and children and to spoil us. But we fight for our lives and our laws. Wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be ye not afraid of them. And that's not even the precept I was looking for, but it's somewhere. I can't really quote it, but he's basically saying it's something about dying for your country. Look it up, man. That's what it made me think of. I think it's in here, but it's such a long chapter. I'll be there all day looking for it. Let me see. First Maccabees 3. I don't know where it's at, but something about the law in the country or something like that. Maybe. Or did I go with First Maccabees 3 verse 21? That's not what I'm looking for. It got to be something else. It's somewhere in there, because it's saying, let's try 42. Now when Judas and his brethren saw that miseries were multiplied, and that the forces did encamp themselves in their borders, for they knew how the king had given commandment to destroy the people and utterly abolish them. That's not what I'm looking for, but that's pretty much, it's kind of saying what I'm thinking about, but that's not the exact precept. But it is an honor to die for your country and your laws and things like that, because if Esau take over your shit, what do you think's going to happen over there? You're going to set up a puppet government, your people and your women, you're going to be destroyed. All right? It's going to be wicked, man. Your kids, man, you don't want your kids going through the shit that's going on over here in America. So many families are missing their children. They don't know where the fuck they're at, man. Fucking with this nigga here, man. And you know, Ishmael, that's why he ain't going for that shit. He know it's better to die. It's better to die. The Maccabees, they same thing. To be in the state that we're in today, not knowing who you are, I mean, we got to thank the Lord for putting the spirit on us to remind us who we are. But not knowing who you are, being gangsters and thugs and being entertainers for a bunch of pedos and shit like that, fuck all that shit, man. That ain't no life. Then be scared to death fuck all that. That's why the Lord told you, you better hate your life, man. You know, because if you don't, you'll be scared and you try to keep it, and you'll uplift wickedness. But when you put your trust in the Lord will fight for you. Confound these niggas. So that's why you gotta trust in the scriptures. But a lot of men, they don't understand these scriptures. That's why they ain't moving properly. It's only gonna work for so long, man, if you don't apply these scriptures properly. That's why we try to encourage. As a matter of fact, it tells you in the book of Luke 22, is it Luke 22? Luke. I don't think it's Luke. It might be John. No. I can't find it. Luke. It is 22. Luke 22. I can't see anything anymore. I don't know what it is. Luke 22. Oh, I'm trying to speed it up. In verse 31, and the Lord says, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not, and when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. So, when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. Okay? So, it's good to teach, and that's how you strengthen them, man. But you don't want to be in that position where you can't do that. And that's what we learned from the Maccabean period. They had some time where they actually destroyed. They were all right for a little bit before the Romans came into power, doing agreements with them. Oh, we just want the temple, and that's when you start trimming your ways. But the Lord, it all, happened that way because it wasn't our time to rule. We had to fully come into Babylon. Luke 21 and 24 would have never, the heathen would have never been brought in there. We would have just been ruling, still waiting for all this shit that prophecy still had to be fulfilled. So it was good that the Romans did 70 AD. We already went through all of that, and we transatlantic slave trade, all this shit, all behind us, man. Now it's time to watch this nigga fall. Get fucked up on his way down. Worst case scenario, Duck weighs replacing Khamenei as leader of Iran. Duck appeared to dismiss Reza Pahlavi as an option and sketched a vision of Iran's government similar to Venezuela's. And what's that? What's similar? With the lady, Duck has publicly mused about the leadership he would like to see in Iran following the assassination of Ayatollah. During the Oval Office appearance on Tuesday with German Chancellor Merz, one reporter asked Duck what plans he had for a worst-case scenario in Iran as the U.S. and Israel continue to wage war on the country. Duck replied that he had few worries from a military standpoint, but he expressed concern that Khamenei could be succeeded by another leader unfriendly to U.S. priorities. That's what I think is going to happen. Somebody that's going to get enriched uranium. I guess the worst case would be, but he don't even need to enrich uranium. Cuba never enriched uranium when Russia started putting nukes in over there. And he already said he was thinking about putting some tactical nukes, using tactical nukes in Ukraine. So he ain't fucking with y'all. I guess the worst case would be we do this, and then somebody takes over who as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen. We don't want that to happen, Duck said. It would probably be the worst. You go through this, and then 5 years, you realize you put somebody in who is no better. That's right. But like I said in Psalm 75, promotion neither come from the east or the west or the south, but from the Most High. So the Lord's gonna put somebody in there that's gonna fulfill His will, just like He got somebody over here in Babylon that's gonna fulfill His will. You can't control. You might put somebody in there yourself, and the Lord put a different spirit on him to fulfill His will too. So it don't matter who's over there. The Lord's controlling everything, shifting rationales. Venezuela, a model for Iran. Still in Tuesday remarks, Duck suggested a vision for Iran's future that reflects the outcome of his recent military intervention in Venezuela. We know what happened there. Venezuela, barriers to Trump's vision. I don't get what the vision is. It's been great. We paid for the war many times over, and we're going to be running the oil in Venezuela, going to make more money than they ever made. Yeah, right. So that's what you're supposed to tell the Iranians. That's why they got 1 million people who already volunteered. The Persians ain't fucking around, man. Out of your damn mind. They already fucked you up in ancient times when you were Alexander the Greek. Put y'all to death. Actually, you put them to death, excuse me. We fucked y'all up during the Maccabean period. My fault. Forgot about that. All right. So, yeah, barriers to Duck's vision, but Duck nevertheless signaled that there were hurdles to implementing a Venezuela-style regime change in Iran. The U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran, Duck indicated, had killed many of the alternative leaders he had hoped to see in power. And he put mad people to death over there. Most of the people we had in mind are dead. Duck said we had some in mind from that group that is dead, and now we have another group. They may be dead also, based on reports. He added that his options for replacing Khamenei were running low. Pretty soon we're not going to know anybody. Oh, shit, man. He's funny. Still, Duck has repeatedly expressed ambivalence. Oh, what's that? The state of having mixed feelings, contradictory ideas about something or someone. About the leadership prospects of Reza Pahlavi. Let's look at Pahlavi. Schnashel. He liked them, then he doesn't like them. I think, is he a son of the last person? A member of Pahlavi dynasty. He is the eldest son of Muhammad Reza Pahlavi, the last Shah of Iran, and his wife, the Empress of Faridibba. They probably still set him up in there. Pahlavi, 65, has pitched himself as a candidate to lead Iran on an interim basis in a bid to restore democracy. But critics have argued that Pahlavi is a divisive figure. His father oversaw human rights abuses during his time as monarch, and Pahlavi himself has been accused of attacking fellow descendants and failing to build a coalition. Put a tyrant in there. Descendants are individuals who actively oppose or challenge established political, religious, or social systems, doctrines, and policies, frequently within authoritarian states. They often use nonviolent action, protest, or advocacy to demand change. Their motivations include fighting injustice, exposing hypocrisy, and pursuing freedom or democratic reform. When asked if Pahlavi could be an alternate leadership candidate, Duck demurred. I guess he is. Some people like him, Duck said, before adding, we haven't been thinking too much about that. It would seem to me that somebody from within maybe would be more appropriate. Duck then explained he would prefer a moderate, somebody that's there, that's currently popular if there is such a person. Still, he did offer light praise for Pahlavi, repeating a comment he had previously made about the Shah's son. He looks like a very nice person, Duck said of Pahlavi. Yeah, nice means foolish. Yeah, he looks like have a great day. These damn devils, man. That's why you gotta look up words. Niggas are snakes. Too early to tell scope of Iran strike. Duck tells Congress. I'm just watching some shit. So, yeah, man. There's so much going on, but the moral of the story is, man, this place ain't got that much time, man. With all this capability, he's saying 4 to 5 weeks. If that don't work, he's pulling Thaaad systems from all over the world to go into the Middle East. But these $35,000 drones are fucking up all of his $1 billion equipment. So how long you think that's gonna last? So he ain't gonna have enough time. All these reports are gonna be coming out showing you just look stupid as hell. And then, going into Isaiah the 13th chapter, you might want to sit down and negotiate because you're losing so much money. You're losing the popular vote. November's coming soon. Then what? Now you're looking at getting impeached. So he might have to do some more shit. Our brothers talking today through the spirit. The brothers in Dallas saying how that nigga might bomb his own place. Some crazy ass T attack here. And I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt he would do some shit like that. I mean, he's done it in past times. Have some black swan event that it'll create for everyone to have to be locked down, start a plague or something, to get people back in order, to get them, kind of get them in check. Unleash some type of plague, man. Have you locked in your house for just like in 2020. So we gotta be prepared for all this type of shit, man. Isaiah 13:17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So I didn't really hear anything about Russia. The Medes are the Russians. Russian news. Lost investments, jeopardized influence, what U.S.-Israel attack on Iran could mean for Russia. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to read the headline. It was questioned President Vladimir Putin did not want to answer. What if the U.S. or Israel assassinated Iran's supreme leader? That was 2 days ago. Too late. Ukraine-Russia war latest. Russian oil tanker on fire in Mediterranean after drone attack. You know what? Speaking of oil, I just got my gas before I came to the crib, and that shit was 6 cents more. So I wonder what the price is probably going to incrementally increase. With all these things that's going on. Ukraine-Russian war latest. Russian oil tanker on fire in Mediterranean after drone attack. Ukrainian leader says trilateral peace talks to end war can be held in Turkey or Switzerland. There ain't no peace for the wicked. Russian flag LNG tanker caught fire in the Mediterranean on Monday. Maritime sources told Reuters the vessel, identified as the Arctic Metegaz, was said to be ablaze early Monday near Malta. Who gives a fuck, man? So more tankers. I want to see what he's talking about. War. Russian news. War. Ducks Iran attack rattles Russian hardliners who call for Putin to double down on war in Ukraine. I'm gonna end it here. It says, I can't even read it. But so there's just a lot going on, man. Zelensky fears ducks Iran war could hurt Ukraine. Yeah, that Iran war is gonna hurt Ukraine. Because if they start sending what they're doing to all these Middle Eastern countries with those drones, man, that's a problem. Because after I don't know if I missed the article, but it was saying, actually I kind of read some of it, but U.S. and Israel bomb. No, so their bombs. U.S. and Israel bomb Iran for 4th day as Duck says air defenses are gone. Yeah, you bombing them, with all this shit, but they're just using drones. And by the time he's thinking, if I hit them with all this, they won't be able to retaliate. But we're going to see after all this destruction. You said 4 to 5 weeks. What happens after that? Then you need to stockpile again, and you don't even have enough to fight what he already got stockpiled. This is craziness, man. So going to show you, man, this place is almost through. But I'm in there here. Lord's will, this was edifying.